I am Saubhagya from IITDM Kannur. I heartily welcome you all to another astonishing event by Astronomy Club IITDM Kannur. I am happy to announce that Astronomy Club is starting the web series where its sole aim is to promote Indian math, astronomy, and art. Let's all start the first series through this unique event where traditional art and tricky math together rejoice our day. I request Dr. Murali to speak few words on this occasion and to introduce the speakers.
Thank you, Saubhagya. So, good morning to all of you. It takes great pleasure in welcoming you all to this wonderful event where we are all going to experience delightful world of mathematics and art at the highest possible level. In many respects, this is great day for all of us, great day for the club, and great day for the institute. Professor J.V. Narlikar is champion of scientific research and science education in India. His pioneering works in astrophysics brought commendable respect for Indian science at international level. I would like to emphasize here that we look back at history for true inspiration, not to take simple pride. It is present which is most important. In this respect, Professor Narlikar work assumes historic proportion. Professor Narlikar single-handedly brought Indian science to international arena. He founded and built Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics, Ayuka, Pune, as world premier institution. He has inspired generations of scientists in India, a life dedicated to science. Before all of us, we have very simple yet profound task. We need to carry forward the work done and being done by Professor Narlikar. In fact, Professor Narlikar is Bhaskara of our own time. Bhaskara is most famous among the ancient mathematicians. Professor Narlikar is most celebrated scientist of our time. The inspiration to have painting exhibition along with talk is Bhaskara himself. He wrote Līlāvatī in a poetic form. Līlāvatī is mathematics as much as it is poetry. Often the sources of motivations in science, mathematics, and aesthetics of art have similar roots. This has been emphasized by Professor S. Chandrasekhar in his book Truth and Beauty, a parallel analysis of connection between science, music, and literature. So this is precisely the reason why it has attracted the attention of renowned Bharatanatyam dancer Chandralekha, who made ballet on Līlāvatī. The inspiration continues, and now we have with us Mr. Shalinee Kumari, renowned Madhubani artist and faculty in Department of Liberal Arts, IIT Hyderabad, who made painting of Leelavathi story, a beautiful legend about Leelavathi book. We are looking forward to working together in future as well. So I do not want to keep you waiting for long. This day belongs to science and art enthusiasts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now request our Honorable Director, Sir, Professor D.V.L.N. Somayajulu, to deliver a few words on this occasion.
Good morning to one and all. Today's guest speaker, Professor J.V. Narlikar, Shalinee Kumari from IIT Hyderabad, our Board of Studies member, Professor Sachinarayana, Head of Sciences Department, Dr. Murali, students, my dear students, friends, very good morning to all. Student clubs of this institute are actively conducting various popular workshops since March 2020 through in online mode. I am very happy that today the Astronomy Club is organizing another program to provide awareness and popularize 12th century mathematics, especially Bhaskaracharya and his most famous work, Līlāvatī. The best person to speak about this work is in India is only Professor J.V. Narlikar. So I thank on behalf of Institute, Professor Narlikar, for accepting our request to deliver talk and share his views and experiences to all of us. Professor Narlikar has started his career in mathematics early age and will continue to serve science. For his immense scientific contributions, he received the second highest civilian award, Padma Vibhushan, in the year 2004. He is a prolific writer in English, Hindi, and Marathi. Other interesting fact about him is that during his Cambridge days, he has guided at another famous scientist, Stephen Hawking, for his project work. I once again welcome Professor Narlikar on behalf of TDM Kurnool. It also takes great pleasure in welcoming Madam Shalinee Kumari, renowned Madhubani artist. In fact, 1 month back, the institute has conducted a very wonderful Madhubani art workshop, and many of our students and faculty actively participated with a lot of enthusiasm and enjoyed our training. We are really happy to collaborate with her again on this work. I wish all attendees a very best of luck and great success of this event. I congratulate once again all the student volunteers of the Astronomy Club for taking such a wonderful initiative today. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. I'm delighted to host this online painting exhibition on the theme Līlāvatī, an enlightened woman, by renowned Madhubani artist Mrs. Shalinee Kumari. I honorably request Shalinee Madam to present the paintings.
Yes, so good morning, everyone. Today's wonderful opportunity. I'm really very happy to present my artwork. Artwork, I'm not able to view. Yes, perfect. So in this painting, in first episode, you can see that Līlavathi's birth, and I have made lights because Līlavatī was a very beautiful child. She was Bhaskara daughter, and she was both intelligent and good looking. This was a rare combination. And here in first episode, Bhaskara is blessing her. And in second part, Līlavatī is sitting and Bhaskara is writing. And communication I have tried to paint. So Bhaskara was apprehensive about his daughter's curiosity. The little girl asked her father many questions and gained a lot of knowledge this way. So this part I have made this scene, you can see. And in third scene, when she grew up, Bhaskara decided to get Līlavatī married. Bhaskara studies Līlavatī's horoscope and predicted that she would remain both childless and unmarried. To avoid this fate, he ascertained an auspicious moment for his daughter's wedding. And to alert his daughter the correct time, he placed a cup with a small hole at the bottom of a vessel filled with water, arranged so that the cup would sink at the beginning of the propitious hour. So in third part, I have made that pot, you can see. He put the device in a room with a warning to Līlavatī to not to go near it. But in her curiosity, so she went to look at the device, and a pearl from her bridal dress accidentally dropped into it, so thus upsetting it. So you can see I have made the pearl is falling down, and then her curiosity, then the auspicious moment of the wedding passed. It was unnoticed, leaving a devastated Bhaskara Ditiya. So in the fourth part, bride and grooms are sitting in front of the pot, and Bhaskara is worried. So in second, can you project second one? Can you please project second painting, ma'am?
Suresh?
Yes.
Yes, sir. One second. I have got all four before us. So how do I project only one of them? I have got four of them here. Or
one more painting is there actually.
Okay, let me see if I can go below.
Yes.
It doesn't let me go below. All the 4 paintings are here, and I don't have an option to change.
Okay.
It is
So
not
there
the
is
screen is not
there is
moving.
8 painting actually, ma'am.
Oh, so another
So
sheet
here
is
marriage is
supposed to
happening.
come.
Yeah.
So the another page has to come. Is it?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, ma'am.
How do I ask for it? What do I click for that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it has come. Now it has
It's
come.
perfect, ma'am.
Yes,
Now it has
Now
come.
it's perfect.
Because I had gone below, but it didn't move very quickly. Yeah. Now she's
Yeah, yes.
covering her face and she's crying.
Yes, yes, yes. Because it was her destiny. Leelavati's husband died. Bhaskara Chari fear came true. So a few days after the marriage, Bhaskara brought his daughter back. I have made that she's widow and everything is turned black because her beauty. She lost her beauty also when she became widow. So after that, when she came out from that bad situation, Bhaskaracharya decided to talk about mathematics to her daughter. So he given some problems, and Līlāvatī brilliantly solved those problems. So again in second part, Līlāvatī and Bhaskaracharya talk is going on. And then Bhaskaracharya decided to write Līlāvatī, whatever problems he solved about snake and peacock problem and all. So in third below, you can see that Bhaskaracharya is writing Līlāvatī here. And in fourth part, again, Līlāvatī Līlāvatī was the first women mathematician that time. So you can see this is holding lights and books also. So this is just like she become a very powerful woman after that. So this painting uh, explanation is like this. This is the. So I divided Līlāvati's story in 8 part. So all part I have tried to paint.
The pictures are all very good and you have done a lot of work on them.
Lovely.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you so
excellent,
much.
madam.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent. Also
Thank you so much, sir.
practically. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
I hope you will draw more pictures.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. I'm eagerly waiting for that wonderful opportunity.
It is
And
necessary to bring the past into the view, and this pictures serve a good purpose.
yeah, so I really enjoyed a lot about Bhaskaracharya. Even my daughter also enjoyed a lot. She only used to know about the Sakuntala Devi, but she's now interested in Līlāvatī. It's amazing. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a great
Thank,
presentation.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Today,
Thank you.
we have the most celebrated Indian astrophysicist, Professor J.V. Narlikar, with us to present a talk on Bhaskara and Leelavati. It's my immense pleasure to welcome you, sir. I honorably request you to start the webinar.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shall I start my talk?
Yes. Sirish, you have to change the. Sirish,
Yes, sir.
sir's video has to come. Fine, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
First of
Continue,
all,
sir.
I would like to congratulate the lady artist who has drawn such beautiful pictures. I hope she will continue doing it. Now, let us come to the topic of Bhaskaracharya and Līlāvatī. You probably know a few years ago, the Indian Academy of Sciences brought out a book which was called Līlavathi's Daughters. Now, what do they mean by this? What they wanted to show was that the Līlavathi's daughters are symbolically the scientists of present times. So, lady scientists in India today, they were identified with Leelavathi's daughter. So it's a kind of tribute both to the persons as well as to Leelavathi. What it meant was that there were in that particular list scientists in various walks of life and how they have achieved worthwhile progress. And in a sense, they are doing what Leelavathi was doing for Bhaskara. So let us now come to Bhaskara and Leelavathi. For first of all, one should identify what is called the golden age of Indian science. That is 7 centuries. That is fifth century to 12th century. So these 700 odd years, Indian science was really flourishing, and there were beginnings in the work of Aryabhatta, and it went through a succession of scientists and mathematicians until in 19, I would say, not 19, 1114. That was the year in which Bhaskara was born. And then one can ask, how do we know this particular year, the birth of Bhaskara? So the answer is that he wrote this age, what his age was, at the time his book was published, first book was published. And then he has been giving useful information about his family as time went along. For example, in Europe, the Bernoullis were supposed to be a family of mathematicians. They were related to each other, brothers, cousins, uncles, and so forth. So likewise, he was telling us
Go on. Now he started. Both your camera and speaker. Sorry for the problem. Can you hear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Audible.
Audible. And can you see him also?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Because we don't see it on the screen. Anyway, you continue.
Could you hear what I said so far?
Hello? Can you hear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You can continue, Jayant. It's okay.
Okay. So Bhaskara has given the names of his relations, which also influenced him or who were his students later. And you find that just as Bernoullis in Europe, we can identify a family uh, of mathematics and science in which Bhaskara was a major player. So now we go further and ask the following question: where was Bhaskara born? Now there are no unique answers because although he says that he was born in Vijalvid, place called Vijalvid, it was not possible to identify that place uniquely with any modern place today. So the question remains unanswered as to where was Bhaskara born. And the possible solutions are in Marathwada there is a town called Bid. Excuse me. There is a town called Bid in Marathwada, which is possible it's a birthplace. Then we have, excuse me, yeah, sorry to interrupt. A town about 64 kilometers from Ahmednagar. Some other people favor birthplace of Bidar near Hyderabad. This is also mentioned by Faizi in Akbar's court. On the other hand, there is also a possible solution where Bhaskara was born in Malegaon, Chalgisgaon, Jalgaon, etc. in that area. Again, precise answers cannot be given so far. Now, Bhaskara had written a number of books, and he was a kind of person who was not only scholar but he was also a good teacher. So he managed to write the books in such a way that there were some question answers which the students can gain from. So these are uh, some of his books where you have Bij Ganita, Ganit Goladhyay, and many other. Uh, so one asks this question: what is Līlāvatī? Now the situation was that Līlāvatī is a name of the book which Bhaskara has written. It is supposed to be addressed to a girl called Līlāvatī. Now, who was Līlāvatī? Again, unfortunately, we don't have unique answers to this, but the most popular answer is that Līlāvatī was Bhaskara's daughter, and it was predicted from her horoscope as calculated by Bhaskara that she was not going to be happily married unless her marriage was arranged at a specified period which Bhaskara had calculated. So Bhaskara wanted to meet that particular period and he set up an accurate water clock and told Līlāvatī to look after it but not to go near it or touch it because that clock was going to tell the exact time when she had to be married. So when this happened, the when our Bhaskara left, Leelavati was playing around and she was curious what is there in that water clock. So she went there, and while she was watching, one bead from her mala, or maybe from her nose ornament, uh, got loose and fell down, and it covered part of the access to water clock, and therefore the clock basically stopped. Certainly, it was not keeping exact time. So when Bhaskara came to double check, he found that the clock was not right. So he said that he will just take that risk, and he got her married straight away. And it is said that she became widow at a young age. Now, whether that astrological prediction is correct one or really a scientific prediction, that is another subject which we won't go into here. But the point was, after Līlāvatī had this unsuccessful marriage, when Bhaskara looked after her afterwards also, and he taught her mathematics, and she was a very clever, intelligent girl. And this book which Bhaskara wrote on arithmetic, algebra, and in a sense, the basic mathematics, it was called Līlāvatī, and it had many interesting problems to solve, and he explains all those very well. Now, there is a point that I want to make, and that was that Bhaskara's mathematical work is of various kinds. All his different books illustrate that. So at one, he had a sense of humor also, which I want to talk about first. Before starting a book on mathematics, he writes a shloka in which he says that my work will please clever people, intelligent people, because they will appreciate the mathematics behind it. So they will be happy to read this. But he said even the stupid people, stupid readers, they will also enjoy it because they won't understand the book and they will think it is all garbled. And therefore they will start making fun of it. So that means they are deriving pleasure out of that book, if not by reading it, but by uh, this particular. Yeah. So in this way, he said, in either way, I am quite happy. Whether it's a stupid person reading it or whether it's a rich intelligent person reading it. Now, when we look at these books, you find that Bhaskara had explained, for example, in Līlāvatī, he had beautiful shlokas which show that he was also a poet, apart from mathematician. So I will give you the kind of problems which Līlāvatī is supposed to solve and which Bhaskara explains how to solve them. So it says, I will give one example. The square root of half the total number of a swarm of bees went to a multi tree, followed by another 8/9 of the total number of bees. One bee was trapped inside a lotus flower, while his mate came humming in response to his call. So given this information, he says, "Oh lady, tell me how many bees were there in the whole picture." So this has to be solved. If you are keen to solve yourself, I will give you the answer. That answer is 72. But you must prove this with your mathematics. Then there is another example. It says, in a hole at the foot of a pole resided a snake, which at the top sat, while at the top there sat a peacock. The peacock saw the snake approach the hole, while the distance from the foot to the pole was 27 hands. That's some kind of distance unit. The pole itself was 9 hands tall. The peacock jumped towards the snake, and moving with the same speed as the snake, but at an oblique direction. He caught the snake just before he could enter the hole. So, tell me quickly, that is what he says to Līlāvatī, tell me quickly how far was the snake from this hole at that time when he was caught. So these are examples of what you call algebraic equations, how to solve them. And this was done by Bhaskara. All these problems are very interesting. And once in a while, somewhere he explains, he asks Līlāvatī to answer or Līlāvatī to respond, which suggests that there was a character or student lady called Līlāvatī. If she was not Bhaskara's daughter, she might be somewhere close related, but this is what we know. Now about Bhaskara, I will tell you one interesting story. It was a problem which came to the surface much later than Bhaskara. I will tell you this was in the year 1657. Remember, our Bhaskara was 12th century. So this is much later than Bhaskara. At that time in Europe, there was good mathematics going on, and a mathematician called Pierre de Fermat sent a problem to his friend, whose name was de Bessy. The problem asked for a solution of the equation. Now I will write that equation. If you can. You see, if you are able to see this, it's 61x square plus 1 is equal to y square. So the question that was asked was, find the value of numbers x and y which will make this relationship correct. So both x and y must be integers. That is important. So what are the answers and how do you find out? This was the problem of Fermat sending to Debussy. Now where does Bhaskara come in? So the answer is the following. This particular question has a solution which I am giving here, x and y. They are not very small numbers. They are very, very large numbers as you see. X is equal to 226,153, almost there as long as his mobile numbers, even longer. So These, this was the solution, but how to obtain it? So these European mathematicians were struggling to find it out, and finally they did. But later on, people who looked at history of science in India, they found that Bhaskaracharya had been aware of that question, and he had actually solved it. He had explained how to solve it. It is called, the method is called Chakraval method, and that solution which I quoted to you just now, those very long numbers, they came because of uh, Bhaskara's very simple solution, method of solution. So the European mathematicians, when they became aware of Bhaskara's work, they said that this was exceptional and that they could not think anybody in Europe had achieved that kind of level of difficulty in solving the problem. So this is just to show you the result, how it was uh, how it was obtained, and one can say that Bhaskara was an exceptionally bright mathematician and as well as astronomer. Although the story I told you about Līlavati's marriage talks of astrology, uh, there is no actual proof that Bhaskara wrote that particular story or told that particular story. So we come back to Bhaskara's work and we asked what did he think of some of the modern works, like did he know about gravitation, why things fall down on the earth. This is what we had read in the history of Isaac Newton. So did Bhaskara also have some such idea? So the answer is yes, he had some such idea, and which qualitatively explained all things dropping on the surface of the earth. And he said that uh, the reason for this is still not known. Similarly, one can ask the following question: what are the upper layers of our Earth's atmosphere? This is a kind of modern uh, space science problem. So the answer is, if we read Bhaskaracharya's book on astronomy, he talks about different layers of the sky, which were covered with different material, but they were all part of the Earth's what you call the environment, these things which surround the Earth. So whether those results are correct today is not so relevant as the fact that he thought of this and he had some way of perceiving why these different layers came up in the atmosphere. So one sees a very interesting question here. Maybe Bhaskara had some ideas which he later expounded, and we need to look up more of his work to understand that. Finally, I would like to say that Bhaskara, let me check.
चश्मा हमें
Yeah, basically what we would like to know was the following, that in the year somewhere before Bhaskara came, that was, I think it was
13
July
years ago.
4, 1054. That was before Bhaskara was born. But there was a very bright light in the sky, and it was mainly the Chinese who spotted it. They saw something very bright, and that was becoming gradually fainter and fainter. Now, this phenomenon was seen by many other astronomers, including Japan, Middle East, even Red Indians. I wanted to check whether in India we find any evidence, and a Sanskrit scholar, Dr. Saroja Bhate, helped me look for various sources of information. But we found that there was no direct quote of this bright object. In today's astronomy, we know that bright object was the exploding star, and that exploding star became very, very bright at the time it exploded. So bright that it was brighter than the whole galaxy. So the question must have been asked, if you see something bright in the sky, you go and ask either the astronomer or the astrologer, whoever you know. But so far, we have not any evidence of this being noted by Bhaskara or any others who must have been told by hearsay that yes, something had exploded in the sky, which is why it was so bright. So for future, there is work to do to find whether Bhaskara had spotted this and then see whether he had any views on it. I think I will stop here. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer.
Thank you, sir. I, on behalf of our entire astronomy club and our institute, would like to acknowledge our gratitude to Professor Jayant V. Narlikar, sir, for his great demonstration of Bhaskara's mathematical works and Līlavathi's story. It's our immense pleasure to have you here, sir. And today, after listening to these stories, I understand that mathematics also serves as a great antidepressant also. And I request Himanshu to take up the questions from audience.
Yeah, hello everyone. Good morning. Am I audible? Hello.
Hello,
Yes,
yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So there is few question in the YouTube chat box. So first question was, so what books do we need to read to know more about ancient mathematics and science developed in by Indian scientists?
Which books do you recommend for
Yes.
studying ancient mathematics and whatever ancient mathematicians had worked on? Do you recommend any books?
Well, there are a lot of books and what I would call review articles which review the subject. Uh, but I can't narrate the list here because it needs technical detail. But I can tell you that I myself was involved as writing an account with Kochar, Professor Kochar in Delhi. So the two of us wrote a booklet on what Indian astronomy was like in the old days. So that can be obtained from the Indian National Science Academy in Delhi.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And one more question was there. One student was curious that uh, uh, you are like 83 years old, but you're still actively participating in webinars and stuff. So, what is the secret behind your health?
How come you are still participating in webinars and active? What is the secret of your health?
Well, that's a good question. And my main problem in participating these say webinars or whatever you call them is that I am getting short of hearing. So when people ask me a questions like you are doing now, I get into some problem trying to understand what is being asked. But with my wife sitting by his side, she can reinterpret and tell me. So that is the only problem I face. Of course, health in terms of stamina, that is also getting less and less. But within an hour, I can usually manage. It certainly gives me great pleasure when people ask questions.
So, I guess there were no more questions from YouTube. So, thank you. Yes,
Himanshu,
yes, sir.
other people here can ask a question.
Yes, sir. Of course. If anyone here have any questions, then please ask.
दुसऱ्यांना विचारते प्रश्न
Hello.
आहे.
Sir, Satya sir, you want to say, add anything here?
Hello.
Daya? Yes.
Sir, can 0, 1 be the solutions to that equation, no, sir? Why can't it the solution with such big numbers?
Please repeat your question slowly.
Uh, before sir said 61 x square plus 1 equal to y square, no, madam?
Yes.
Can x equal to 0 and y equal to 1 satisfy the equation?
No, you need non-zero solutions. That is a precondition.
Okay, thank you.
0 आणि 1 त्याचं सोल्युशन नाही आहे. तसलं ट्रिव्हियल सोल्युशन चालणार नाही. The precondition is you want positive solutions. It's given x square plus y square equal.
Hello, there is one more question in the YouTube. Naval Bhadri is asking, there were two discussions about two Bhaskaracharya, Bhaskara and Bhaskara too. In Indian ancient history, both were mathematicians, and after their names, ISRO had launched two scientists. His question is, another Bhattacharya, can you tell us more about him also? Bhattacharya.
Please, the question is not very clear. Are you talking about two different Bhaskaracharyas?
Yes, yeah, he's actually asking that there were two Bhaskara, so he's asking about the other Bhaskara.
He's asking you to compare two Bhaskaracharyas. Do you
Well,
know about?
actually, there were Bhaskara 1 and Bhaskara 2. And the one we were talking about today was Bhaskara 2. He is much better known and has certainly done a lot of work, which is indicative that he was more advanced than Bhaskara 1. And obviously, as the numbering shows, Bhaskara 1 was before Bhaskara 2. So Bhaskara 2 was later astronomer.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, I have a question here. This is the first time that Bhaskara has introduced the decimal number system in his works, or somebody else has introduced already, like decimal numbers?
Decimal system, who introduced? Was it Bhaskara or somebody else? Now, do you mean the decimal number system? You don't mean decimal fractions. You mean the decimal number system, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It has come much earlier than Bhaskara, because the proofs are found elsewhere, even in the 6th or 7th century. And the mention of zero and the use of zero is also there in the form of a dot, not a circle, but a dot. So decimal system is older than Bhaskara that we are talking about.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Sir, I have a question. Good morning, sir. Myself, Krishna here from IIT Kurnool. This whatever Līlāvatī works, is any book available, sir, on it?
Is any book
Original
available
or any
on Līlavathi's work?
You see, there are a lot of books written on Līlāvatī, and Bhaskaracharya's work on Līlāvatī. So you will definitely find them in the market.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
How was your day? How you start your day, sir?
How do you start your day? He wants to know your routine, more or less.
Well, in the earlier days, what we used to do was, after getting up, we go for a walk. That routine was stopped because of this COVID. And with this COVID, we were now reducing our outdoor activities. Age also comes in it. But we go for walks morning and late morning or early afternoon, or both, 2 walks in the day, to keep in good health. I think that is the main problem, main issue. We, of course, try to follow simple food, simple diet, so that we don't put our stomach to great trouble, great effort.
And we usually sleep early and get up early. We get up between 5 and 5:30 and we sleep by 9. People find that very astonishing, because many people don't even have their dinner by 9.
Yes, ma'am. Like I used to tell my students that replies will come morning 5:30. SARS used to reply mails early morning 5:30. So
yeah, early morning. We find that is more natural for our systems, and
yes.
so we follow it. But
Yes, ma'am.
getting up early, sleeping early and getting up early is what we find is more natural for our systems. But some people have different rules.
See, I should tell you that when I was a school child going to school, then my father imposed a routine in which myself and my brother, had to go to bed early, get up early in the morning, and do a lot of work while we are fresh in the morning.
Yeah, study in the morning, 2 hours every morning.
And then that, what you call habit, has still remained now, that we prefer morning work, morning walk, everything in the morning, and less in the late night.
Yes, sir. And one more question: which book influenced you more?
Which book has influenced your work more?
Well, when I was a student in Cambridge and wanted to decide my future studies in mathematics or physics, theoretical physics, then Fred Hoyle's book called Frontiers of Astronomy helped me a lot in making up the decision, because that book showed how physics laws can be used to handle or understand astronomical phenomena. So I felt that astronomy is a subject worth going into seriously, especially because Fred Hoyle was available to me as the teacher, or a person who can guide me for my research.
So another question is that does Leelavati herself published any work of her own?
Has Leelavati written her own books? Are they available? Has Leelavati written any books?
No, Līlāvatī has not written any book, because we don't know what kind of character Līlāvatī was, whether she was Bhaskara's daughter or she was some other relation. It is not known or definite.
No, apparently very clear. If they want to ask questions, they can ask. But
Ma'am?
we can stop. Yes.
Ma'am, actually, we are really happy to have sir, and also in astronomy also we can also have host more talks, and also when college reopens, we also personally and ask him to come here and then give talks, interact with our students. Sir is great role model for all of us. That is one request, ma'am. And also we want your guidance, continuous guidance, to continue to work in this area, ma'am. Līlāvati's work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But his health, although he did not admit it explicitly, his health is not as good as it was 10 years ago. He has got Parkinson's for the last 13 years. Instead of going for walks in the early morning, it is early mornings are more dusty and cold. So we go for walks when there is a little sun and it is not so dusty. And our walks are becoming shorter. We used to walk for 2 kilometers, then it became 1 kilometer, and now it is half a kilometer. So our walks have become shorter, slower, but we still continue with them because that is one good way to keep good health and also keep regular routine and try to, as he said, try to follow the simple food and regular habits.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
I would like to just give one more comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Bhaskaracharya's work in astronomy is very important and it is valued in mathematics and algebra, both. But the story that people remember is more about astrology. It is that Muhurtam being lost and the daughter becoming a widow because of that. People remember that more. Actually, that is not important and that is probably not even documented or true, because that story creates lots of more ethical questions. Like if he was sure that his daughter was going to be a widow, wasn't it very unfair on the bridegroom, because you are imposing death on him? So all such moral questions come up, and though the story is interesting and people like to sort of think of it, I don't think we should give so much importance to it. And also, my husband does not believe in astrology at all. That is one more thing. In our house, we do not look at horoscopes because we do not believe that they can really foretell the future. But it is also true that in old days, astronomers were encouraged to work and they were given money for working because their employers, the kings and the powerful people, they were more interested in knowing the future. So it was, although they may be paid for astrology, the real astronomer wanted to look at the laws of nature behind it. And they also knew that prediction of future of humans was not really accurate. It was not really a science.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. This is very important message that to convey. That thank you for sharing your views. I'm
Yes.
sure that youngsters here will take this message.
And in
Yes.
our house, this has been the sort of tradition and belief. I don't know if you know, Jayant's father was also an astronomer, and he also had the same views that astronomy is important and astrology is not. Even he did not look at horoscopes or muhurtams at any time for any reason because he was an astronomer, and there is a difference. Astronomer studies the actual behavior of the planets, but they do not believe that they can have effect on humans and different effects on different human beings, and that those huge planets whose weight we can calculate, whose movement we can calculate with the laws of physics and mathematics, that they can actually differentiate between the humans, which are smaller than germs for them, and then they can affect their futures differently.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Actually, I thank you for like bringing attention to this important topic. I'm sure youngsters will take note of this one. Thank you very much, ma'am, for this point. Sir, I have one. Time is also I don't want to disturb you. Your Cambridge days, you had interaction with Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking बद्दल विचार.
Can you tell, sir,
Can you tell anything about Stephen Hawking?
that personal interaction with him?
Stephen Hawking was my contemporary.
Junior.
We were both graduate students, research students at the same time. He was probably 2 years younger, that is ahead of, behind me. But we were both in Cambridge University, and he was quite interested in mathematical astronomy and various things. But he was, later on it turned out, he was suffering from a strange kind of disease which made him lose all control over his body. So with that kind of prognosis, the the patient would feel very, very dejected. But Stephen decided to spend his time as much as possible on mathematical or physical problems. And he did that, and he did some important work for which he is well known. And he lost all control of his body, and he was using on mechanisms produced by modern technology. So this is what I can tell.
And it's amazing that his brain was still working very well, although the rest of the body slowly deteriorated. So shall we stop our meeting?
Yes, ma'am. If there are no questions,
Yeah.
our student will propose vote of thanks, ma'am.
Okay.
Suresh, Soumya?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I, on behalf of our entire astronomy club, would like to thank you once again for answering all our questions and for interesting speech on Bhaskara's mathematical works and Līlāvatī story. Hope you stay healthy and continue many more sessions like this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The student ने thanks दिली. नहीं thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll close now. Huh? Okay, bye.
Bye.